So quick disclaimer before we begin, I'm recording everything at once, so any weird noises you hear, that's just the noises you're gonna hear, because I was too lazy to record video and audio at 2 different times. So, notes. Sorry about that. Some basics. I'm awkward. You asked for, help with the chest area and arms. So, when making your chest, actually, that was more of a guy chest. I'm not really comfortable with drawing guys just yet. And that's a big thing, is comfort. If you're not comfortable with how you work, you need to just practice more. I know it sounds stupid, but it's what needs to happen. So, you just kind of start with kind of a curved line on top, or you can do straight, it really doesn't matter, it's what you prefer. And you can either do this line first and then draw your ribs in, or the rest of the shape in, and then you can do the straight line, or you can do that and then do your lines. It really doesn't matter all that much. Sorry. So this is the basic construction for a chest, personally how I do it, and my anatomy is stylized, but it's mostly accurate, I guess. So, just keep in mind that my stuff is stylized, and some of it is not completely accurate just for the sake of it being stylized. So you got your head kind of up here. A little too small, honestly. And getting it right is kind of difficult, so you'll just have to continue to practice for a while until you're comfortable and you understand it. I mean, even now I'm fidgeting with it because I'm not happy or comfortable with how it looks. So just remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. And right here you kind of have a cylinder shape. So it leads down kind of like that. Then you got your hips, which is kind of a almost diamond. So you got like a line here, and then you do that. Or you can just do the diamond. Again, it's a preference thing. Or you can honestly, you could just do the cylinder and just make that the diamond instead of just doing the weird diamond thing. You can combine the two. Again, it's really up to what you want to do. And then try and do the head again. I usually connect it with a kind of triangle. Give me a good idea of where everything should go. And then 2 more triangles. I'm not, again, probably not accurate, probably not how you should do it, but it's how I do it, and everyone else can shush. This audio is terrible. Anyway, so you got, that's not right. We're starting over. I'm way too anxious. Okay, so you got your head, right? Got your neck. You can start drawing in right there just so you have your basic idea. Got your chest. Circles for shoulders. Alter it. So when you're drawing this, you'll have your head, you'll have your neck, and you'll have your shoulders. And if you're doing it from an angle, say it's, oops, way too far. Say it's like this, and the lady's looking over this way. I'm doing a lady. Her back will partially be behind her arm, especially if she has it. So she's got her arms like more out, so it's more like this. You'll be able to see it partially, but some of it will be behind here. So right here's where it intersects, and then this part of her back will be hidden, but you'll still be able to see part of it. It won't just be like a straight line down. So it's not a straight line and then arm, it's more kind of bent and then arm here. I hope they got this makes sense. So you got that, and then so your ribs, they'll come down to like here, all your ribs here. I don't know how to draw ribs. And when drawing boobs, it's kind of helpful to draw more like teardrops. Imagine she's got like bags hanging around her neck right here. So she's got her string here around her neck, and then the bags kind of hold themselves like that. And then if you're wearing a bra, it'll be different because it'll hold them up more and oftentimes closer together, so it'll look a little bit different. But yeah, and then you got the end of your rib cage here, and there's a small indent. It's not really big, but it's there, and that's where I usually draw it way too long, personally. But that's where the ribs end and just like your stomach starts, and then you got like a small bump here where your hips go for a lady. With ladies, it's a lot easier to tell where the hips are. So you got, so it looks somewhat like that. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at this. So you got a small indent. You can go down. You can really make this however you want because there's so many body types, and then you kind of go out. For a thinner body type, it'd just be more. So you got your boob, you got your chest, you got stomach, and then hip just goes out a little. I messed that up. And back here, hips don't go out nearly as much. They kind of just like one straight line with small curves, and then you have it look like sort of like that. I'm much better when I'm not teaching someone. Yeah, and the other arm, you don't like show all of it unless her arm is also out here, like this arm is too. Neither of these arms are proportional in length to an actual arm. I mean, your elbow, which is right here on this lady, should actually come to about your belly button. So let's scoot down here. So you got your head. Apparently this lady's an alien, or poor lady. Do not mean to give her a terrible looking head. You got your terrible neck. Sorry, I always have to do that body shape. You got, it's not quite enough. Got your shoulders here. They come out. You got bags of boob juice here. That sounded weird. I'm sorry. And just kind of, if you're not focusing on them, I wouldn't bother too much. What am I doing? Got boobs here. And then lady belly button like here. And then, oops. And then hips like just a little bit below them. This is absolutely terrible, but I'm trying to show you arms, not the body right now. I'll get to that again in just a second. So your arm will come down, and then your elbow will be like here. So she could turn her arm over. Doubtful. But she could like do that, right? So maybe she has her arm out here. Kind of be right there. And I always do inwards. I go outwards on the inside, so right here. I don't usually go that intense, that was a bit much. But I go out and then I go back in. Just kind of give a arm feel. And then if she's got it bent, I'll go in or out and then back in the direction that it's bent. That's again not anatomically correct completely to my knowledge, but it's just how I do it, and I find it nice looking. And if her arms are like completely stuck to her side, there's gonna be right here, let's change to blue so you can show it better. There's gonna be kind of a crease, and then there's kind of, that's way too big. So it's gonna be like a small crease and it bends out, and then there's gonna be another small one, slightly bigger, like that. So it looks somewhat like this. Yeah. You can always do, like, never be afraid to, experiment. So, like, maybe you want her to have an extra long torso with really thin hips. So you do your boobs, and you do your shoulders. They should kind of raise off of the line here, and then you'll do apparently a tiny head. So you get your head. Kind of drew it too close, bear with me here. So you got like your long torso, and then you got your narrow hips. And it looks weird because I did it in like 2 seconds. But if you know the kind of look you're going for, then it'll be easier to get a look that doesn't look ridiculous. And then for different body types, you got your head. Just play with it. Really go wild. There's nothing wrong with messing up. There's nothing wrong with a failed experiment. In fact, it's just it's how you progress. So don't be afraid of messing up, because everyone's messed up before. Everyone's messed up. So there's nothing wrong with messing up there's nothing wrong with messing up, like, ever. On your own time. If you're working for, like, a big firm or something, a big company doing art, or even if you're just doing it for a hobby and someone's, like, commissioned you, make sure you're comfortable with what you've been asked to do. If you aren't, then you aren't, and either practice or tell them that it's something you're not comfortable with. There's also nothing wrong with being uncomfortable with how you work, you know? That's why practice exists. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will inevitably become. And the more comfortable you are, the happier you will be by the end of the day. That was kind of a weird ramble. What I'm trying to get across is, don't be afraid to mess up, and don't be afraid to try. The more you try, the further you will get. And the more you try, the more you'll mess up, and that's fine. There's this YouTuber that I watch a lot, called Psychra, and one of the things he said is, in one of his videos, is, so say you watch a tutorial on how to draw an eye. Say it takes you 30 minutes to do this one eye. It takes you 30 minutes and you're very, very happy with it by the end. And you just go, okay, now I'm done, on to the next thing. That's not proper learning techniques. What you need to do is, you need to go, okay, I've done that first eye, can I do it faster? And soon you will be doing it faster, and you'll do it a little bit faster and a little bit faster and a little bit faster, and you'll do it every single day, and you will practice and practice and practice until you can draw, say, 10 eyes in... So you can draw 10 eyes in 30 minutes, as opposed to you just being able to draw one in 30 minutes like you used to. That's very obvious progress, because you've become comfortable with your abilities and what you know. But you also can't just stop there. What you have to keep doing is you have to keep progressing. You have to keep trying out new techniques. So instead of drawing the same eye 30 times, after you get down the basics of the eye, you start drawing them wider. You start drawing them more narrow. You continue adding to your arsenal, air quotes, of abilities, until one day you've hit a point where you are happy with the abilities you have. And then, or content, not happy. I'm gonna say content, because being happy with what you have with your art skills is definitely a difficult task. At least try to get to a place where you're content, where you can say, hey, I know how to do this. And that's the most important thing to be able to say, is, hey, I know how to do this. So you draw all sorts of eyes, right? And you don't give up until you're faster. The same thing goes for bodies. I mean, I drew those in a relatively short-ish amount of time because I've just done it and done it and done it and done it. And don't be discouraged if you see someone who's faster than you, who's better than you. They might have been practicing longer. And yeah, some people just innately learn faster and can do better in a shorter amount of time. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone learns and gains experience at their own pace. So, that got a little bit off topic, but I hope it helped. But yeah. Don't give up, and don't move on away from something the second you think you have it, because you probably don't. Do it until it's so ingrained in your head you could probably do it while sleeping. Now, onto hands, like you asked. So, make a almost square. And how hands work is, if you look at your hand, the thumb kind of comes off of the wrist. So, your box is here, but you're going to start your wrist about here. And I already messed up a little bit, but your box should be more square than I made it. So you got your thumb, and I'm terrible at drawing thumbs, so bear with me as I give you a terrible rendition of a thumb. Anyways, you got your thumb, and then you have your fingers, and if you look at your fingers, they go in a mitten shape. That's why they made mittens, because, you know, they all fit there. And you got one finger, and another finger, and you got these two in the middle. What I usually do is I bring this up just a little extra, because this is your index, and this would be your middle finger. So I bring this guy here, and this, your ring finger, I bring them over, and I just connect the two, because I'm lazy. Let's just go with lazy. And if you look, your ring and your index finger are pretty much the same height, so you can just lump them together, and then your pinky should stay about where you put your mitten finger. So wham bam, you've got a terrible looking thumb. My word. So your thumb should actually not look terrible. I need to practice thumbs, so So anyways, you got your hand shape, and then you can start practicing hand poses. So you want like your fingers spread out, or you just want like the pinky and the index finger spread out, and you say rock sign. There you go. You just kind of, I fake it. I desperately fake it because I'm terrible at hands still. So you'll do something like that, and then you'll bring it, then you'll bring it down to here where your elbow would be. And voila, you get yourself a nice rock on. Right? I'm sorry, this is so terrible. Trying to think of what to help with next. I'm not particularly great at hands. References. There's a good word. That's a great word. You should always be practicing. Sorry. I have this book here, The Human Figure by David K. Rubens. I don't know if you can get the book anymore, but I know it's helped me, and I will be very happy to send you pictures of it if you want. Because it's got a whole bunch of very informative, helpful pieces in it that I've used for reference since I got the book. And it's helped me a lot in getting better at, putting figure into my characters, instead of them just being bland, weird-looking people. And I know you didn't ask for this, but I want to talk a bit in depth about something really important that a lot of people neglect, and it's keeping variety in everything. Well, most of everything. A lot of people can have similar features. So say you have a face, and maybe you have another face over here. Instead of having them look the same, you can see right here that the jaw on this one is further back and it's harsher, whereas this one's softer. And despite them having very, very similar head shapes, the two faces that you could make out of this are very different. And in that, you have more than just two options, because you can give them different facial features. Like, say this person has wide, kind of slanted eyes, slanted downward at the outer corners, and say this person has flatter eyes that aren't really curved, like, at all. Right, so you'll have this, and say they have large eyes despite how narrow they are, and this person has small eyes small irises despite how large the outer part is. If you have a flexible style, like if you don't draw in hyperrealism, you can do so many things. Say, like, this person has mad bushy eyebrows. This other eyebrow looks terrible. See, you can just get so much variety, and already these two characters are very different. And maybe this person has a pointed nose, so you got something like that going on. And this person has a non-pointed nose, so it's something like that. It's very, I don't know the term. Never mind. Say they have a thick upper lip but a thinner bottom lip. And they have a thin upper lip but a thick bottom lip. See, you have so many options. So it's really important to never try to limit yourself. Always give yourself options. Always try to experiment and explore. And I know it is hard to fall into a very big same face issue, and I did for a really long time. It was really hard for me to not do the same features on every single one of my characters. But, it's really important to take the time out, especially if you plan on making stories or showing off your characters a lot, that they aren't the same person, just with a different hair color and a different eye color and a different, color palette or different clothes, right? So you want to show as much difference in everyone that you can, and then only I don't know how to phrase it, but variety. That's my main point. Terrible point. So, yeah. Ow, my neck. So yeah. That's about the most information I could give you. I hope that helped. And you can always look up YouTubers with tutorials, and you can always find references and just draw from there. And like I said, don't be afraid to mess up, because you won't progress if you're always afraid that you're not going to do it right. Because no one does it right their first tries, and you're going to mess up a lot while you're trying to, say, find a style, or revamp your style, or change how your style looks like. You're not going to be satisfied at times. In fact, 97% of the time, you are probably not going to be satisfied if you're making any form of changes. Meaning, if you're trying to practice, you're going to practice, you're going to practice, you're going to practice, and you're just going to be mad. You're probably not going to be very happy with anything that comes out. There's going to be that small 3% that you're like, oh, this is really good, I'd like to be able to do this more often. And that's why you practice. And soon, that 97% will get smaller and smaller. I'm not going to say it's ever going to go away, but it will drop drastically the more comfortable you get and the more experience you gain. And I know I've said that a lot, but it really is true. You need to find where you're comfortable, but you also need to not let yourself stay there forever. So, I really do hope that helped. I hope it wasn't annoying. I hope I'm not annoying. And I'll be very happy to work with you more as you learn and develop. So,